Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Sagittarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we begin with our wonderful Six of Wands. You're somebody with a lot of like a sense of accomplishment right now. I feel like you really are believing in yourself. You really feel like you're participating in something meaningful, and that you're doing a great job, that your life is kind of unfolding kind of according to schedule a little bit. Like it's kind of, you're putting in the good work and you're seeing results. And so I think it really is a boost of confidence right now. I feel like there have been struggles. Yeah, there have been a lot of struggles where maybe you didn't always believe in yourself. You didn't always have the confidence that this card is indicating. This is a Jupiter and Leo energy. It's an expansion of our pride, right, and our confidence. I think that you're leading a group of people to some really positive rewards, okay? It could be that you're at work, at home, at school. You are a leader. I think that you see yourself as somebody who is kind of responsible for other people, and like, I want to do a good job because I want everybody to benefit here. You're the kind of person that if you win the race, you want to make sure that everybody's coming with you. When you get to the top, you're going to reach down and pull everybody else over the finish line too. Okay. I think that you're somebody who has been working very hard at something, and you're either right now experiencing the good results, the positive rewards, or you will be very soon. Okay. This is a card of victory after strife. We have fought for something and we've won, or we are winning, or we're going to win. Okay. I feel like you've already accomplished something that you feel very proud of. I feel like it's important for you to recognize the other people that were involved, or the other people that helped you, or it's like you're accepting your reward on stage. You're going to thank everybody. You're not just going to say, I did it, it's me, I deserve the reward. You're going to say, I want to thank all these people. I want to thank my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters, my friends. I want to thank the directors, the writers, and the key grips, and all these other people. I think that you're very generous with praise. I think that you know how to praise other people in a way that's authentic. People see you as a very authentic person, don't they? Because you don't just shower people with compliments for no reason and it seems phony, right? I think you have an authentic way about you where people know that you really mean it. Yeah, people can feel it from you, that you really mean it. You're very encouraging to other people. And I think that you find people's good qualities, and you help to bring those good qualities out of people. You're inspiring and encouraging to others and praising of others in a way that really feels genuine. Yeah. Let's put this card into a little bit of context, shall we? We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. There's the Six of Swords, Six of Wands, Six of Swords. We have the Hierophant. Very good. We have the Empress. We have the Hanged Man. Are we going to go with a fourth major arcana energy here? No, we are going with a Prince of Swords in the future position. Here we have the Magician as your general energy, and we have the Lust card in the environment. We have another air card. We have a Knight of Swords, and we have a Three of Pentacles. Something is really working right now. I think you have so many wonderful qualities about you that it really makes for like the perfect leadership energy right now. This is the perfect time for you to sort of lead the way forward and get to some goal, make some kind of accomplishment here, okay? Spirit's telling me about some leather thing on your hand, some kind of, I don't know if it's a leather glove. It seems like it's not covering your whole hand. It's just a leather strap or something like that you wear or that you have. I don't know. Maybe it's a bracelet, but I feel like it's kind of over the fingers or something. Yeah. Anyway, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. And we're going to set it down right over here with Jimbo, the Lizard King, a.k.a. Mr. Lizard, right there on top. Now, even though he can do anything, he's not going to reveal that card until the end of the reading, okay? It'll tie everything together. It'll give us our confirmation. If at any point during this message you maybe know what that card is, put your prediction down in the comment section below this video. All right. Now, as we look around the room, you do have a lot of major arcana. 1, 2, 3 behind you, and then 2 over here as well. This is awesome. You've got a lot of divine support right now. You've got fire. We don't have any water except what I could kind of think is part of our Empress energy. A lot of love here, a lot of comfort, a lot of, a lot of support, a lot of nurturing and nourishing, a lot of growth and that sort of thing. You've got air, air, and air, and, well, a little bit of earth. So you got fire. You have fire and earth, okay, which are the 2 single elements, right? You have kind of 1 fire and 1 earth card, and that's the spiritual electrical circuit of creation. You believe that you can do something, and look at this, you're doing it. This is the card of work. It's saying if you work on it, it will work. And this, of course, is that Jupiter in Leo confidence that says, I can do it. I know that if I work it, it'll work. And this is now you working it, and it works, okay? But I feel like some of the air energy is really the obstacle here. You have the intention, you have the will, you have the confidence, and we kind of understand what it is we want to have happen, but the air energy is saying we need to formulate a plan. That it's really important that we get like a step-by-step thing going on here, and that we stick to it, okay? So a lot of interesting stuff here. I feel that this is going to be a gold mine for you. I think that the Three of Pentacles, whatever this, it's an earthly goal. It's something manifesting in the physical realm. Could be something physical or financial. Could be related to your health or your wealth, okay? And I think it's going to be really successful and really, really abundant. Yeah. Anyway, our second position card is the 6 of Swords. This is the battle station. And this represents the quest before you. Where are you being called upon to be courageous and to sort of step up and face the problem, face the quest, face the challenge of life, And this is a card of a divine blueprint. This is a card of perhaps, formulating the plan and then, of course, executing the plan, right? But having the structure, having the knowledge, having the organization. We have this will and this intention. Maybe it's like we have to we have to have the conversation with everybody. We have to create the organizational chart. We have to create the navigational charts, We have to map it out a little bit. And then, of course, we have to travel. And I think that the 3 of Pentacles might be us kind of doing the work. Whatever we're formulating here, then we're doing the work over there in the 3, right? Feels to me like the portal is already open for you. The door is already open, but we need the plan and the strategy. We need to kind of get a game plan going here, okay? So it kind of implies that we've been either delaying putting a plan together, really getting organized, it's like kind of, I want to write a book. I know I got this book in me. I'm going to write it. I'm going to do it. I want to do it. But then it's like, we don't have a typewriter, or we don't have paper, we don't have pencils set up. It's like, organize your desk. You want to do some tarot readings? Okay, I got to get some lights. I got to get a camera, a microphone. I got to get some tarot cards. And I want to put them out, I want to set things up. It's kind of your mise en place, right? But I think it's more than that. It's not just the objects around you, but it's the mental organization. It's the idea of kind of knowing like how we're going to navigate something. Yeah, and maybe between these two cards, it's kind of trusting ourselves to, like, I know I need to have a plan. I know I need to be organized, but what if something happens? What if a road is closed? Do I trust in myself? Do I believe in myself that I can navigate around the obstacles? Okay, what if things do not go exactly according to plan? Because this is, remember I said with the Six of Wands here, it feels like everything is going according to plan, but then why do we have the plan as the obstacle here? Maybe this is, in a way, maybe we're too worried about the plan, we're too fixed on the plan, to the point where our creativity or our the organic nature of something might be compromised. Okay, so we need a plan, and we have to follow the plan, but we don't want to be so rigidly stuck with our plan that we have no ability to improvise, no ability to be spontaneous or creative. We have to realize that the plan, the Six of Swords, is just the bare bones of something. It doesn't really have the living experience yet. So we need to have a basic plan and a structure and an organization, but we have to be willing to, like, get messy and get creative and get our hands dirty, go off trail a little bit, find some detours, find some, intentionally go off trail and find some detours, This is the map, it's not the territory. Yeah. And I think that since we have a couple of very rigid cards here, the fixed earth energy of the Hierophant, the fixed air energy of the Prince of Swords. We even have a fixed fire energy up here, okay, in your environment. So let's make sure we're not too fixed and rigid and too much of like a stickler for the textbook way of doing something right now. We want to be by the book. You're a very by the book person, aren't you? This is down in your soul here. This is position 3. And this is kind of like, I have a vision of the way I want things to go, and I want them to go that way. And so we kind of have this, this fixed energy. And I think that this is kind of like, this is meant to be like a bridge between your vision and the reality of something. You want it to look exactly like how it looks in your head, okay? And I think that maybe that's a little bit too fixed and rigid, that we might need to be open to things may turn out a little bit differently than I intend. It doesn't mean I shouldn't do something. It's also a card here that's saying I like to do things by the book. There's a system here, and I'm very much attached to my system. I think in a way that's a good thing, okay? I think that these cards, every card has light and shadow. And the point is here that we want to really hone in on the light of these cards, all of our fixed energies. But we don't want to really be too influenced by the shadow qualities, because this is kind of like doing things by the book and not being able to do anything else. That even when the environment is kind of demanding a different response, I check my manual, I check the textbook, and I do things the textbook way, right? We always kind of know, it's almost like a customer service. I used to be in customer service, and you'd have a script that you'd have to read, so it wouldn't really matter what the customer was saying. You'd have to recite the script. And it's very frustrating as the customer, as we all probably know, But everybody's got a job to do, right? I did that very, very briefly. It was right around the time where I did telemarketing for about a week. I did customer service for about a week. And it's no matter what the customer says, it's like you have some line that you have to spit out. So there's no organic conversation. It's just everything has a predetermined response. And that can be really the shadow quality of these two cards together, is that the way I communicate with you is just default messages, We've got to use our intuition a little bit. We got to tap into we got to let that magic flow. We got to improvise. We're conducting magician, right? We're conducting an orchestra here. We're not like, and that maybe is a good example, because there is sheet music, right? We have our Six of Swords. There is sheet music, but there needs to be heart and soul in it as well. Okay, and maybe classical music isn't really the genre for a lot of improvisation and creativity and going off trail and kind of and drifting away from the sheet music, but you get the idea. Okay. So I think you're somebody who likes to do things by the book. I think that you like to have the rules and the sort of structure around something. And I think we're working on just being a little bit more open to the novelty, a little bit open and being a little bit flexible to some of the strange things that may pop up and how we're going to deal with those things. Okay. You may be part of a guild or an apprenticeship or some kind of an institution where there is an expected way of doing things. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's a school thing, maybe it's just in your home, your house, your family tradition. There's kind of like a so-called right way of doing things, and we're trying to do things the right way, but we're also trying to have our own voice. We're also trying to be creative and to, do something that's unique in life. I don't want to just be a robot or an automaton, right? I can do things within a particular framework, but also you can get creative and you can build upon this, right? So this is a card really that says we have to learn the techniques and the rules, but then we have to sort of bend the rules and we have to drift around the rules. We have to get creative. We have to find our own voice. Okay, we don't want to just imitate what everybody else has done, which sometimes is what your boss wants you to do, right? Just be like everybody else. Or what your parents kind of tell you, just be like everybody. Why can't you be like your brother? Be like everybody else, and then we'll all get along, right? We'll all just sort of conform to the similar standard, and things will be fine. And so I feel like that's kind of that's part of your internal energy that we're trying to work with, but also we're trying to transcend it a little bit, okay? Spirit's saying something about a mirror, a glass, kind of something like a pane of glass, a mirror or something like that in your life. Yeah, I don't know if there's something to do with that, something interesting, or I don't know, you have stickers on it, or I don't know what it is. Repeating numbers is also a thing for you, right? I feel like you're very intellectual, very cerebral kind of person. In the background here, we have our Empress energy, and this is the dwarf position. This is something that's getting further and further and further away from you. It's in the rear view mirror, right? And it's kind of, in a way, a minor obstacle. Yeah. It's a card of comfort. It's a card of love. It's a card of nurturing and nourishing. And it may be, in relation to some of these fixed and very organized mise en place kind of cards, it could be that the Empress is a time in your life where you were kind of like given permission to do kind of whatever you want, do it however you wanted, okay? Because I kind of feel that this is something that we're sort of transitioning out of. And so it's almost as if you've grown to be more in touch with the rule. You've grown to appreciate rules and structure more. Because in the Empress energy, maybe this is how we grew up, maybe this was a particular phase of our life, we felt that we were encouraged to kind of do whatever we wanted. Like there were no rules, right? And I feel like what we're really trying to do is find a balance between these things, and really in the end, when it comes down to it, we want to have the freedom to be creative, right? Because the Empress doesn't like the rules. This is like grandmother nature. It's not the emperor, right? It's the empress. And it doesn't have rules. It's saying let's all just create and create and create. There's randomness, there's variation, there's diversity, so much diversity out in nature, And so it may have begun to feel a little bit chaotic. There were no rules. There were no techniques. There was no structure. What if you had no sheet music? What if everybody was just playing something different? Playing a different song. Let's say that this is your orchestra, and everybody's just playing whatever the heck they wanted to. It would be a cacophony of noise kind of at the end, So I feel like you started to realize that you wanted some sort of structure and order. We wanted at least something to contain my creative spirit. It's almost as if we need a little bit of the Emperor to come and with the Empress combine together and make that perfect kind of unity. Maybe the mystery card will be the Emperor. But I feel like this is really going to be a gold mine for you. And I think big fortunes are in your future because you're able to blend these things together. You have that intense creativity. And of course, you're trying to you're trying to hone it and refine it through your structure and rules and the organization and your mise en place. And you could be a wonderful cook. You can be have such a great taste, such a great palate, and an eye for beauty and for, how to construct the perfect dish. But if we don't know how to package it or put it together, if we don't know how to do things in a kind of a somewhat organized and orderly way, then it's just kind of, it's random. It's completely organic growth and natural growth. But there needs to be some sort of rules and stress, like everybody in your company. It's like everybody, no job descriptions, Everybody, we just hire a bunch of people, you do whatever you think you should do. We'll see how long the business lasts, We want people to be creative. I think maybe this is about creating your own personal culture, right? You want everybody to be productive, you want everybody to be creative, but you need some sort of guiding path, some kind of guiding structure or organization here. And so I don't know if this is how we grew up, or this was a period of time where we didn't really follow the rules. We didn't care about the rules. I didn't want them. And I kind of just, there was freedom here. There was permission to sort of do whatever we wanted. And maybe in this particular art form or this particular work that you were doing, I think we're realizing that we need a little bit of that kind of structure. Okay. Now, the Hanged Man at the top here is very interesting too. This is the giant position. It's surrender, acceptance, and sacrifice, but it's also a changing of perspective. It's kind of like maybe there was a time where we didn't want rules. We didn't care about. I didn't like rules. I wanted to do whatever I wanted. I wanted just purely creative, organic growth, just spontaneous. And now now maybe the script has flipped a little bit. And so now we're changing our perspective. We're seeing the other side of that. We're seeing how a lack of structure and organization is going to prevent us from really taking our fire of our will, our creative juice, and getting it to manifestation. Fire to earth. Remember, that's kind of what it's all about here. Fire to earth, a spiritual electrical circuit of creation. And if we, I think we're realizing that we need to have some sort of channel to direct that. It's kind of like you have a rush of water. You have this infinite ocean of water, but it's not going to help you do anything unless you're able to somehow create little irrigation channels or whatever. And maybe it's not an ocean, but you know what I mean? Like you're not able, it's all this rain coming down, but we have to find something. We got to collect it in buckets. We've got to make little channels in the garden so that rainwater can go and irrigate the plants or whatever you do. I don't know. But that's kind of the idea. And so I feel like this is looking at things now. We're looking at things from the other angle, and we're getting a different perspective on things. So I kind of feel that we're coming round to this idea of, okay, maybe I need a little bit of structure. Maybe I do need a little bit of a plan here. It's we go and we get our canvas and we get our paint. And we just start throwing colors around, and it's just whatever you want to do. And it's just whatever comes out comes out. And the other side of that is I'm going to think, what am I going to paint? Am I going to paint some fruit? Am I going to paint some people in a boat on a lake? Like what am I doing here? So there's two different styles. Both are perfectly valid. I'm not judging either one. I think what you're doing is coming around to that idea that I need to kind of figure things out a little bit beforehand and then get into it. But not so much that I lose the creativity. So the Hanged Man is that card of sacrifice. What do I have to give up in order to, how do I need to kind of balance things in order to get the outcome that I want? For this to really work, what is it that I need to look at differently? And where do I need to perhaps compromise, or where do I need to yield a little bit? Okay, so we have the card of I'm fixed in my ways. No one's going to budge me. I'm not doing anything different. And then we have of course, the Hanged Man that says, I'm yielding, I'm yielding, I'm yielding. Right? So we have those two opposing forces. I will not yield, and I'll yield to anything, whatever you want. So kind of a stubbornness, and then a really easygoing, go with the flow. Whatever needs to happen can happen, whatever we want. Maybe we're dealing at work with that set of rules, and we're kind of like, I don't operate very well under any kind of management, you know? I don't like a boss kind of telling me what to do. But I think we're kind of like, we're trying to balance that. We're trying to find the harmony here. Okay, it seems to be the message, especially because we have our 6 and our 6. We've got the sort of the balance between the Hanged Man and the Hierophant. And going forward into the future, the next step for you is the Prince of Swords. This is double air energy. This is a balance of air. It's a fixed air energy. So this is kind of like we're trying to walk a tightrope. I don't want to have too many rules. I don't want to have not enough rules. And I'm just trying to walk that narrow path right in the middle there. And I think that this is the way forward for you, is to take your plan, whatever it is, and to execute it, but not make sure that you're not too strict about those rules. They are there for you. They're kind of there as like guideposts, guidelines, and not necessarily we have to do things exactly by the book. We don't want to be that kind of a tyrant, right? Maybe I don't want the mystery card to be the emperor. But we're going to play by the rules, I guess. We're going to conform as much as we need to, because that's how we're going to get along. That's how we're going to get forward. That's how we're going to get the thing done. It's whether this is at work, at home, at school, if it's some kind of a creative thing, if it's a financial thing, it feels to me like we're kind of dealing with that structure and order, and trying to know how to navigate just the simple fact of having rules, or having some kind of a job description, or even some expectations, right? If it's our boss kind of telling us you have to accomplish these things every day. And it's like, oh gosh, okay, my life's never been this organized, but now it's time for me to get a little organized. Because I think you're a very creative person, and I think that you typically function very well as a leader, as a kind of a creative inspiration, and we're learning now how to translate that into like actually managing people. Does that make sense? Because it's one thing to be, I'm like creative, I have the vision for the company, I'm inspiring, I know where we're going, I know what we're doing, but yet when it comes to like assigning people jobs, telling people what desk to use, and it's like that's not really my forte, but I think you're learning that. Okay, as the other side of things. Could really be with these two that you are the creative force in this business. Maybe you have a YouTube channel, maybe you have an Etsy. What it's important for you to do now is learn the back end, learn the organizational stuff. It's like this is, you can be on camera doing the YouTube tarot readings, but this is now you got to learn how to edit videos, you got to learn about lighting and microphones and wires, and you got to learn about uploading and all this kind of stuff, and taxes and everything that goes along with it. So this might be like, feels like it's stifling the creativity a little bit, but we realize that we need this because that's what's kind of keeping the whole thing together and keeping it moving forward. We're keeping the line going up and to the right. We're seeing growth. We're seeing the right kind of trajectory here. And Spirit wants you to keep going forward in that balanced way, because that's how you're going to really get the fortune. That's how you're going to get the gold. Okay. Now, Path of the Serpent, we're going to talk about these cards, especially the Magician, right? If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are free. It really helps out the channel. I really appreciate that. So the Magician is the conductor of the orchestra, the conductor of the fire to the earth. Okay. Fire to earth. That's what the Magician does. Really, it's kind of like, it's like ultimately like that, I guess, because it comes in through the crown chakra and it goes out through the root chakra. It sort of comes in from above, and the Magician transmits that creative fire, that spiritual fire, the divine light, your will, your intention, your inspiration, your aspirations, to the realm of earth and the physical plane. It's the conductor of electricity, also the conductor of the orchestra. Okay. And it represents really our represents our human heart and mind, our body. It represents all of the tools and faculties that we have, our spiritual insight, our intuition, represents our higher love, higher wisdom and discernment, all these things that we can bring to bear to accomplish our goal. The magician can cause change and conformity with will. You can make the earth look like your will and your intention up here in the fire energy. I put these in the wrong place, didn't I? So that's the conductor, that's the magician's function, okay? And this is your general energy. So I think we're trying to be the very best magician. The magician has to follow certain rules. That fire energy can't just be, it can't just like random, it's like a fire hose that nobody's holding. It's gonna go everywhere violently, right? Somebody needs to hold it and point it at something. Pointed at the fire. So we're all doing magic, by the way. All of us. We're all the magician. The tarot teaches us how to be a better magician because a lot of the time, we don't realize we're the magician. And the tarot's trying to remind us that we are. So if we're all magic, we're all doing magic anyway, we might as well do it consciously, for one thing. And for another thing, we might as well do it well. This is your general energy. You know that you're the magician. And so you know that it's really up to you to figure out exactly what tools I have, what can I use, what materials are around me that I could bring to bear on this work, what do I have to learn, how do I need to grow. I'm willing to adapt, I'm willing to change. It's like you want to do this so bad. It's like, okay, I'm willing to play by the rules of this platform or by the rules or the structure of the genre, of the industry, whatever you're in. Okay? And to me, it feels like that's how we are, that's how we're sort of packaging or processing that creative energy. It has to go through certain channels. You have to do certain business, make certain phone calls. You have to sign certain papers. There has to be some sort of procedure or structure or organizational chart. There has to be a plan to it. Okay, so if this is your business, if this is your work, your school, if this is your creative work, your YouTube channel, your music, your dance, your painting, your whatever it is, maybe it's your stand-up comedy, there's a formula for it. We have to learn that magical formula. What works for you. It's, in a way, making a kind of organizational flow, a workflow. Okay? In a very practical way, it's a workflow. I've got my workflow for this channel, and the more I do it, the more I refine it. The thing is that we don't have to be a stickler for the rules. I come up with a workflow, and that's it. And I do that every day no matter what. No, every day I'm like, I wonder if I can do things more efficiently. I wonder if I could be faster at this. If I could, if there's a way that I could speed things up in this area so I can spend more time here doing these readings. And you've noticed the readings have been getting longer, right? Because I found a way to streamline some of the uploading stuff. Some of the stuff, I don't know if you know, I have a Patreon, I've got a website, and that requires, daily uploading and stuff to keep those videos populated there, I just figured out a way to do it a little bit faster. Saved me probably 20 minutes, honestly, in my everyday. That's a lot for me. So I've spread those 20 minutes here into these readings. Much to some of your chagrin, but, I like it. I enjoy it. So anyway, the magician knows how to adapt. I know what skills I need to learn. I know what it is that I'm kind of lacking or that is undeveloped in me, or those qualities that I have that aren't so active right now, that I need to develop more and I need to hone them and strengthen them so I can transmit my creative juice out into the world. Okay? You're like a master, musician, but no one's going to hear your stuff. You got to find a way to record it, or you got to find a way to call up a bar and say, can I come play an open mic night or something, or something, a way to record it, a way to distribute it, put it on YouTube. It's a perfect platform. So that's kind of what the magician needs to do, right? And that's your general energy. I feel like that's what you're doing. I feel like this is a snapshot of your soul right now. The tarot spread that we use is basically shows us the landscape of our soul right now. And maybe some of these you're aware of, maybe some of these you're not. You are the magician. In the environment, position 8 is the lust card. This is a card of passion. This is the card of not necessarily trying to tame the beast, but trying to channel that creative energy in the right direction. I don't want to stifle creativity. No, I don't want all these rules in my job or in my creative life or my personal rules, my personal structure and plan and my personal workflow to stifle my creativity. That would be the worst thing. This is the thing that's so meaningful anyway. If this creativity wasn't here, there'd be no need for the rules or the workflow, right? So we have to know that our workflow must support our central stuff. Like my creative work is right here, right now. I'm riffing with you. I'm just like, we're vibing, and this is just kind of spontaneous. None of this is pre-planned. This is where the creative stuff happens, for me at least in my life. Maybe the thumbnails a little bit, but my thumbnails aren't all that great, so I don't know what I'm doing there, but this is where that creative energy is. So everything else needs to support this. Because without this, there'd be no need for any of the other stuff, So all my back-end workflow kind of thing needs to be geared toward how can I do these tarot readings better? How can I be more creative? How can I be more in the flow with you? Because this is the part that really matters. And so when I tweak things on my desk, as I sometimes do, when I change the lights around, when I change the flowers or the candles, that's all stuff. It's not for really, it's not like, well, what would the audience like? I mean, that's part of it too, but it kind of is like, what's going to make me feel like more in the space that I need to be in, okay? And so we have to think of that in terms of our environment as well. This is the card in your environment. Okay, how is your environment, how are your relationships supporting your creative work? Is your environment giving you the vibe you want? There's nothing worse than I try to do these tarot readings, and when I first started doing the tarot readings, I was in a basement. I'm still in a basement, actually. I was in a cold, dank basement, and I just had an old wooden desk with a little desk lamp. So it was really dark and dim, and I just had my old Samsung phone. I'd film with it, and it would just be my hands on this really just crusty old desk, and I'd be laying the cards out, and it was cold, and there were spiders, and it was just a gray color down there, and it didn't really have the vibe, And so we have to understand that our environment really matters. Our relationships really matter, okay? Whatever kind of creative passion, whatever kind of work you're trying to cultivate, whatever sort of energy in your life you're trying to harness, you have to know how your environment, everything outside of your skin, is affecting you. People, places, and things in this position. Do they inspire you? Do you feel more creative in your workspace, in your office, at your desk, or wherever you do your work? Maybe you're retired. Maybe this is the garden. Maybe this is the book club. I don't know. In your home studio and in your office at home, you're in front of your desk where you write, or whatever it is, where you compose music, whatever, you're in the kitchen where you're cooking. How does your environment support that effort or that work? Not just practically, but spiritually and aesthetically and emotionally. We're very affected by our environments. When you're at work and then someone in the cubicle next to you is getting angry, and then suddenly we feel like, okay, I'm really frustrated today. I don't know why I'm so frustrated. We're absorbing emotions from the other people around us. So we need to at least be aware of that, okay? And at least to the extent that we are capable, we have to mold our environment. It's part of the work of the magician. I can adapt. Right, as we talked about that, the magician says, "What do I need to do to keep myself going in this positive, productive, creative way? What can I adapt? What can I learn? What can I do?" But then we have to think of the magician also as affecting the environment. What do I need to change in my environment so that I can do my work better? Okay, and sometimes for me, it's, I gotta, kind of clean up the mess a little bit. I like to wipe the desk down sometimes. I like to meditate in here. Sometimes I burn incense in here, even though it's a closed space. I do sometimes. What can I do to cultivate the vibe that I need to do the work that we need to do? Okay. I think it's very important for you, especially in your relationships, who you allow into that workspace of yours, the people that are around you. Sometimes we can't control everything. If you're working in a company, you can't really control your coworkers. You can't control whether they're frustrated or angry, but we can at least try to say, okay, you know what? They're getting angry. I need to do something to kind of counteract that for me. And so maybe we put on some music, maybe we put some flowers on the desk, maybe we have something else that we kind of can focus on to sort of counterbalance some negative energies that are coming in. We're trying to cultivate the right atmosphere, okay? Because we're trying to sustain and sort of stoke this creative fire, okay? And this is a card of discipline and control, because the creative fire, as we know, we don't want it to rage out of control. We don't want to tame the beast, right? We want to ride the beast. Okay? We don't want the beast, we don't want that creative energy to stop being creative energy and we don't want that beast to just become a little kitty cat. We want it to be a creative force. We want to ride on top of it, not make it small. I want to make myself big enough where I can control this thing and navigate it. And it's like the Fremen and Dune riding the sandworms, I'm not trying to shrink the worms down and make them just nice, docile worms, nice, domesticated, friendly worms. No, they're big, raging beasts of these worms, right? But they just figured out what skills I need to learn in order to ride on those wild things, That's what we're seeing here. In this position, the specter position 9, fear, worry, concern, we have a Knight of Swords. And this is a Libra energy, Knight of Swords. It's a cardinal air. And so in some ways this is saying I'm worried, or my fear is that I'm perhaps going to lose any kind of, any ability to choose. Right, because I'm following this GPS system, I'm following this map, and so it's kind of like my future's already planned out for me. Because the Knights are always looking at the future, remember? The Knights are looking at the 10 of Swords and really thinking I don't want to just follow a plan, because what's the point? It's almost like we feel like there's going to be no satisfaction. If I just do things step by step, the way I'm been told to, the way I'm supposed to, then it just feels like robotic. It feels, with the swords, it feels like we're just automatons. We're just we're robotic, yeah. And maybe it feels like we'll get to the end of this path, we'll follow the road, we'll follow the map, and we'll get to the end, and there won't be any treasure there. There'll be gold, but it won't feel like anything. It won't mean anything. It'll just be empty. It's kind of like we don't want to just sell out. We don't want to go corporate, We're trying to stay independent here. And so I think there's a rebellion against too much of the structure and order, too many rules, too many guidelines. You think of someone climbing Mount Everest. Those climbers, they're not just up there exploring and improvising and figuring. They're not blazing a trail. Okay, the Sherpas are the one that do that. The Sherpas are the ones that climb up the mountain with nothing and set the ropes for everybody else to use to climb up. Okay? And I think you kind of feel that you're that way a little bit. That you're not so interested in following the guide ropes that somebody else has set in the mountain, because it's just okay, I'm climbing the mountain, I'm doing the hard work, but it didn't really do anything. It's a feat of physical strength. Yeah, sure, I'm not saying climbing Mount Everest is easy. I probably will never do it. I have intense admiration for any kind of mountaineers. But just in that sense of not being the one to blaze the trail. That I don't want to follow, other people's guidelines or waypoints. Okay? But I think the message here is that we have to stand on the shoulders of giants if we're going to become a giant ourselves. So it may be that right now what we need are more rules, more guidelines, follow what other people have done a little bit, follow, have a plan, have a textbook kind of, a manual to consult, have the Sherpa there to sort of guide you, follow the guidelines, and that will allow us then to develop the experience that we can then improvise. Then we can sort of dance around the sheet music. We can float in and out of the bar lines, the musical, whatever lines are called. But first we have to be able to learn and play by the rules before we can start inventing our own rules, so to speak. Okay. That's kind of our worry here, is that it's just going to be unfulfilling, And the idea too, we don't have any water energy in the reading, which it's maybe the mystery card. Fingers crossed. We don't have any water here because I feel that we're trying to cultivate this creative energy, and we're not trying to get too heavily influenced by our emotions right now, because it's like we don't want to let our emotions play into it. I'm just trying to do things the way I'm supposed to, and if I let my feelings have too much of a voice, then I might not do things the way I know I need to do them. Does that make sense? This was your soul's idea, okay? There is an intense water energy here, but maybe we're just trying to protect it. I'm trying not to hurt my own feelings here. I'm trying to just do what I need to do and see kind of what works and what doesn't, okay? You're being guided now. Now, you had recently a weird phone call, or the phone rang, but it rang once or something, or it rang and there was nobody there. I feel like it rang like one time and then nothing. Yeah. Anyway, your final card in the 10th position, the destiny position, is the 3 of Pentacles. This is the card of work. This is the card of everything kind of functioning together to get and something is taking off. To me, the 3 of Pentacles always reminds me of like a drone, with the little fans at the bottom. And, each one of these wheels is a fan. And if those fans are all spinning at the same rate of speed, the same RPM, then this business, this art form, this YouTube channel, this career, this whatever it is, this school thing, this work thing, this thing at home, it's going to take off perfectly. It's going to rise, right? But if any one of these things is not functioning right, if a fan's broken or it's a little too slow or a little too fast, instead of rising straight up, it's going to flop over. It's going to crash and burn immediately, right? Everything has to be working together as part of a whole. The system has to be put together right. And I think that this is knowing and recognizing the interconnectedness of everything right now. There's this creative energy and the environment, and there is the sort of the rules, the structure, the organization, but then there is also this kind of organic growth that we saw with the Empress energy. Everything together is what is going to make this a success. And you need all the components. This is the card of work. How do we make it work? The magician is going to say, okay, this is what I want. How do I need to do this? Because that's magic. Magic isn't just saying, I want a successful career, and then snap my fingers. Hey, it's not here. I must be a terrible magician. Being a magician is tremendous work. It's tremendous work. And it's not just fixated or focused, it's not specialized work. A good magician has to be good. Who knows what you got to be good at? You got to be pretty good at a lot of things to be a good magician. Of course, you have to have that core thing that you're trying to do, right? It's like, I want to have a successful, YouTube career, right? This is what I do for work, pays the bills, right? Most months, anyway. So this is the work that I do, but I know that there are a lot of other skills that I need to develop in order to make this work. Okay? And that's kind of what we see here, and the magician is going to know that I may be called upon at any moment to put on a different hat, to learn a new skill, to do something a little bit different. And I have to be able to kind of incorporate that into my body of knowledge, right? Maybe this is the art and science of manifestation, knowing what I need to know when I need to know it. Learning what I need, what do I need to incorporate? What other sword do I need now to stick in here that's going to help me to get to my goals? So it's not just a rigid and fixed plan that I already know everything I need to know and that's it. We have to always be learning. And we have to be always willing to see, okay, what does this work require? What are one of the components that need to be developed? And then, okay, well, let me put on that hat and let me go research. Let me dive into that rabbit hole and figure out that side of things. And that is another piece of your kind of knowledge base. Yeah. It's going to help you to do this work. I think it's going to be a gold mine. I think whatever you're doing is going to be very successful. Let's look at the mystery card now, shall we? Emperor, maybe an ace of something, maybe some water energy, maybe the Wheel of Fortune, maybe a 9 or a 10 of Pentacles. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments, okay? Let's see what we have. 3 of Pentacles. But guess what? 3 of Pentacles plus a 3 of Pentacles gives us the 6 of Pentacles. The 6 of Pentacles is the jackpot. It is the gold mine. It is the material success. 6 of Pentacles, 6 of Wands, fire to earth, perfect manifestation, right? This is a pretty good synchronicity. So it really is saying that, like, whatever you are doing now that's working, eventually you're going to recognize and identify some other things that you need to incorporate, that they will then work. And it's perhaps cooperation, it's teamwork, it's everything coming together in harmony, everything working together for success. You are working together with yourself, right? Organizing and harmonizing and resonating with all of the different things and all the different skills and talents and all the different hats you have to wear. And you are also harmonizing with the people around you. Yeah. Making sure that you're cooperating with the environment properly. And together there's this, I'm resonating with myself internally, I'm resonating with the environment, and that's going to create this wonderful success for you. Okay, we have 6, 6, and 3 and 3, 6. This is going to be a gold mine. Yeah, beautiful. We're going to do an extended reading as well. If you want to stick around, we'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Sagittarius, Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we are all in this together.